It's cold. That was the very first thing I felt. I slowly got up and looked around. The room was a little dusty, but it was a normal room. Seemed I'd fallen asleep on the bed without pulling the blankets up. I wobbled as I stood, and looking out the window, I saw a grey sky with small pieces of white dancing in the air. Snow? What month was it? Suddenly I realized something. Where was I? And why was I there? What was I? Who was I? For some reason, I couldn't remember. My head hurt. I desperately searched my memories, but they were unclear, like a haze hung over them. At any rate, standing around here wouldn't do anything. I had to get out of the room. Okay, let's investigate. I opened the closet, wondering if anything was inside. Inside, I found what looked like an employee's clothes. Who did they belong to? They had to belong to whoever owned the room. Was it me? Either way, it appeared to be an employee's room. If so, then this building had to be a wealthy family's mansion. I definitely shouldn't leave the room in my pajamas. If I was unlucky enough to run into the owner, then things might get a little hostile. I borrowed the clothes and quickly got changed. Think. First things first, I can't stay here. I need to look around the mansion. Alright, move. The hall was silent. I couldn't sense anyone. The building looked even bigger than I imagined. No, this was probably what all wealthy families' mansions were like. Suddenly a shape passed by the end of the hall. I should have rushed after it, but as I became aware of what it was, I unexpectedly stopped. It was a red man, dressed all in red. He turned around and looked in my direction for a moment, but not only did I not catch his eye, I couldn't even look at his face. His strange get-up inspired nothing but fear. Then, just like that, he left. Who was that man just now? As the red disappeared from sight completely, finally, I could tilt my head. Alright, let's move to the entrance. Where's the entrance? There we go. I had a quick look around the place, but almost all the doors were locked. There was only one thing I could say. There was something strange about this mansion. I couldn't sense anyone at all. No, that wasn't right. I could sense something. Something, but there were no people. It was like this mansion wasn't inhabited by people. No, there was no way that could be true. I'd just seen someone after all. The reason I was thinking such strange thoughts was because of the odd situation I was in. As I tried to convince myself of that, I started searching for the exit. Before long, I found the front door. Neither pushing nor pulling made it budge. Looked like it was locked, What was going on? There was something that looked like a keyhole. There didn't seem to be any other way to open it from this side. It wasn't like I'd seen endless buildings before, so there wasn't all that much I could say about it, but the front door didn't look normal. It was definitely strange. You over there. I jumped in surprise. The voice was coming from behind me. Hurry up and take that newspaper to the master. That's your job as the new recruit. The master's room is at the end. The dazzling door with the pure gold doorknob. That room. You got it, right? So go on. When you're done with that, come to the break room. It's opposite the gold door. Yes, that's right. The dirty black door. We're busy, you know. Hurry, hurry. Busy. As the voice got further away, I was finally able to turn around. Nobody was there. Nothing was there. A quiet hall spread out before me. I couldn't even hear that person's footsteps. At some point, I had picked up the brand new newspaper lying before the door. Something suddenly caught my attention. The date, written in small letters. December 25th. It was Christmas Day. Alright, let's check it out. The newspaper I just picked up. It looked so new that it had to be today's. I opened it without thought and read the article on the front. The number of victims of the serial girl killings that began in April this year have continued to rise. All of the victims were young girls from XX, and all of them were stabbed multiple times with a sharp knife. In order: K-chan, deceased, 12. A-chan, deceased, 13. J-chan, 12. W-chan, deceased, 11. And the body of E-chan, deceased, 14, were discovered just last week. Police have been unable to locate the criminal and don't even know what they look like, but they are hoping that once the only survivor, J-chan, recovers from her attack, that she will be able to provide them with clues. However, some are complaining that making the young girl relive such a painful event would be heartless. Oh no, I got absorbed in reading it. Alright, let's have a think. If the newspaper was from today, then that meant today was Christmas. So then, maybe the man I saw before was Santa Claus? No, Santa wasn't real. There was no way I'd believe such a childish story. But a costume was believable. Maybe there was a party tonight or something. At any rate, I had to deliver the newspaper to the master. The owner of this mansion would no doubt know who I was and why I was there. The room was definitely the bright, thick door with the gold doorknob. I glanced at the newspaper in my hands. The front page article was on the serial murders of some young girls. What awful content. But for some reason, it grabbed my attention. Should I read it before delivering it? We already did, so let's move. Alright, we want the room with the gold doorknob. The room with the gold doorknob. It seemed different to the other rooms. oddly less inviting to enter. There were no other doors with golden doorknobs. This had to be the master's room that the voice mentioned before. I thought about knocking, but then I heard someone breathing on the other side. I grew scared and quietly stepped away from the door. Then, as though timing it perfectly, the door opened. Dull footsteps dragged over. I waited behind a pole until the footsteps got far enough away that I couldn't hear them anymore. I let out a small breath and checked that nobody else was around. Who was it that came out? No, not who. What? I was so scared that I couldn't check, but that breathing was like a beast. And the pointed glance I could sense through the closed door. At any rate, it was creepy. I very much wanted to get rid of the newspaper as well. Let's just drop it off and get out of there as quickly as possible. The room itself was a regular old room. It was probably the master's bedroom. But the bed sheets were a mess. Plus there was a strange smell. My head hurt. I gently placed the newspaper on the bedside table and then turned to leave. This mansion, it's strange. My head strangely hurt. Alright, let's think. It must have been the master who left the room just before. I quickly hid, but I should probably talk to him. No, at the time, that was what I had to do, I think. He didn't seem like someone I could talk to. I wonder why. I really shouldn't hang around here any longer. That was how I felt. I had to get out, quickly. But the front door was locked. Should I find someone I could speak to, or look for the key? That voice I heard by the door said to come to the break room after leaving the newspaper. I'm pretty sure it was the room with the black door. I can't get into any other rooms. For now, I should check it out. Alright, let's move. We want the black door. The black door. At a glance, it was the dirtiest looking door of all. The one that had seen a lot of use. As I reached out for it, I heard a voice coming from inside. So busy. I need to clean, and then do the laundry, and then prepare the master's meal. Yes, so busy. I shall take them the prepared meal, to the master's wife, to the master's child, and then to the master himself. This is terrible. We're missing a person. I shall prepare meals for the other workers as well. Oh no, it's that dirty room in the basement, right? I don't want to go down there. I don't like it at all. Let's leave it to someone else. See, I'll just leave the key right here. Yes, that's perfect. Okay, let's go. I'm so busy today. So busy. I heard footsteps, and then the voice faded away. Seemed someone was still in there, but finally the footsteps faded. Did the person in that room do a lot of running around? But they didn't leave via the door. Maybe inside connected to another room. I should think carefully. My headache might come back. I shook my head and then reached for the door. Seemed like it was locked. It wasn't like I had the key, so what should I do? Suddenly I noticed something was carved into the door. One has been left out. Amongst the workers and amongst the girls. If you wish to become one of us, you must hide the one who is left out. Beneath that, letters of the alphabet were lined in a row. They weren't words, but seemed to enumerate something meaningless. What did it mean by someone has been left out? A worker and a girl, one each. I had no idea what that meant with regards to the workers, but... Alright, let's investigate. One has been left out. Amongst the workers and amongst the girls. If you wish to become one of us, you must hide the one who is left out. Alright, I don't think you can see that on your screen, but I have a prompt here. Do you remember the one girl that survived from the newspaper? Her name was J. Let's put in the letter J. It said to hide someone, but how did I do that? With no idea of what else to do, I covered the letter J with my hand. No, that couldn't be it. There had to be another meaning behind it. Or I had to cover the letter of the worker as well, I thought, and removed my hand. The letter J, that had just been there, had completely disappeared. Why? I wondered and looked at the sentences above it. Nobody wants to be left out. The girl went on a trip, surrounded by friends. I got chills. The sentences had changed without me realizing it. Plus, that sentence. The girl went on a trip. It couldn't mean... The sentences continued. You already know, don't you? The worker who has been left out. It's you. If you're okay with that, then you should look for others like yourself. That's all. The strange sentences ended there. Feeling an anxiousness I couldn't explain, I opened the door. Alright, let's investigate. A rusty key lay on top of the desk. Judging from what the voice said before, this had to be the basement key. From what she said, someone was in the basement. I didn't really want to, but I decided to head down there. Okay, let's move. Even though it was a basement, I couldn't guess where it was. In that case, with the key in hand, all I could do was comb the area for it. As I was thinking, something moved at the other end of the hall. It was Red. The Red Man. No doubt about it. It was that man I saw earlier. I quickly hid behind a pole and watched him. All I could tell from afar was that he was wearing red clothing. Even focusing closer on him, I couldn't make out his face or anything. As I stared at him, suddenly he turned this way. I quickly drew back, but perhaps it had the opposite effect. Footsteps dragged closer, towards me, getting closer. Thump, thump. My heart beat wildly and I couldn't breathe. Why? If I spoke to him, then I might understand something about what was going on. They were getting closer. It was all over. closer and closer. No, 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 no. I prayed and closed my eyes, and yet I couldn't erase the image of the red shadow burned into my eyelids. Finally, I heard a door open and then close. Then the sound of a lock being closed. I opened my eyes. The quiet hall spread out in front of me. It appeared that the red man hadn't noticed me and instead entered that room over there. I let out a small breath and tried to calm my heart as it threatened to burst out of my chest. I looked closer at the end of the hall. The door the red man had just come from was ajar. There were no other rooms I could enter. First things first, I decided to check it out. Alright, let's move. Alright, we want the slightly open door. Carefully paying attention to my surroundings, I opened the door and slipped through. Stairs before me led down. At the other end was probably... Was I hopeful or anxious? Unsure of how I felt, I went downstairs. Before long, a rusted door that looked similar in design to the key I just picked up blocked my way. As I expected, when I put the key in, I heard an odd shrill sound and it unlocked. I took a deep breath, readied myself, and then opened. The room looked just like a prison. Steel bars took up half the room. There was no light beyond them, and it wouldn't have surprised me if something lurked in the darkness. They couldn't possibly be keeping a wild animal here, could they? No, I couldn't even deny that. Letters disappeared, and I could sense people where there were no people in this mansion. I had no idea what was going on. The room was extremely dusty and stank of mold. And also blood. I'd have a quick look around, and if there was nothing here, I'd get out of there as soon as possible. Alright, investigate. Having said that, there wasn't much to investigate. Whatever was beyond those bars was another story, though. I resolved myself and approached the bars. There appeared to be a door. A sturdy padlock hung from it, and unless I unlocked it, I wouldn't be able to check the other side. Should I go back upstairs and look for the key? No, there wouldn't be any clues in a place like this. With that in mind, I went to step away from the bars, when suddenly... Something gripped my upper arm with surprising speed. No, it bit it. It hurt, as though it was trying to tear my arm from its socket. Was it really a wild beast? Something sighed quietly. That was definitely a human voice. She desperately grabbed my arm from the other side of the bars. It was a girl, pure white. I held my chest with my free hand and took several deep breaths. Then, as my heart calmed down, I turned to look straight at the girl. The girl also seemed to react to me and slowly withdrew her hand. A young girl, with white clothes, white skin, and white hair. I was at a loss for words. She was a little dirty, but she was still a breathtaking beauty. But why was she in here? Finding it strange, I nervously questioned her. "Who are you? And what are you doing locked up in here?" "Ooh." She quietly muttered, then, gesturing, tried to explain something to me. She opened and closed her mouth, pointed to her throat, and then shook her head. Something didn't feel right before, but now I was certain. This girl couldn't talk. I had to think about what to do. She tightly gripped my sleeve and looked up at me with gentle eyes. Did we know each other? I asked her as much, and she gave a single nod. Surprised, I continued talking. Who was I? Who was she? Where were we? But she seemed frightened by my fierce attitude and took a step back. By the time I realized, it was already too late. The white girl withdrew to the back of the cell, disappearing into the darkness. I was the one at fault here. I apologized to her through the bars. All I could hear was her small, thin breathing in the darkness. If I calmed down, would I be able to communicate with her again? Alright, let's think. But no matter how you looked at it, it was strange. This girl being locked up down here. There was a good chance that the owner of this mansion was a dangerous person. At any rate, I wanted to speak to the girl again. This time slower and more calmly. Alright, let's talk. I tried talking to her, but she didn't respond. In that case, it might be one-sided, but all I could do was talk to her about myself. Which was to say, all I had to talk about was what had happened since I woke up. There wasn't a whole lot I could say that wouldn't frighten her. I could talk to her about my lost memory, about the snow falling outside, how today was Christmas, according to the newspaper I saw. I spoke to her slowly, carefully choosing my words. Alright, talk to her. Well, I'd finally run out of topics. I tilted my head, unsure of what to do, when the white girl slowly showed her face from the shadows. Was my smile comforting? I couldn't tell, but I did my best to smile to put her at ease. Maybe it was because she gave a small smile back and slowly walked towards me. If I bombarded her with questions again, we'd be right back to the start. I searched for the words to open her up a little more. Ah. This time she tried to convey something to me. She pointed at me, then herself, then tilted her head. Was she asking if I remembered her? I told her that not only did I not remember her, I didn't remember anything. She looked sad, so I asked her if we were close. She didn't nod nor shake her head, but instead gave a vague smile. What did that mean? For some reason, I hesitated to ask her. Right, talk to her. I tried to decipher what she meant as she gestured. Our clumsy conversation went on and on. She finally seemed to warm up to me and explained that she was going to show me something precious. What was she going to bring out? Maybe the front door key, but my hopes were swiftly dashed. She brought forth an old teddy bear, a fitting treasure for a young girl. I was secretly disappointed, but I did my best not to show it. To her, it was extremely important, and I could see that just by looking at it. She approached the bars with the teddy bear so I could see it better. The more I saw of it, the older and more worn out it looked. The thread seemed to have come loose from its arm, I muttered, and the girl hung her head and withdrew. Perhaps she was concerned about that fact as well. Was there any way to fix the bear? Maybe there was a sewing kit somewhere. Okay, think. There had to be a way to fix the teddy bear. I might find a sewing kit upstairs. Right, move. As I stood up, the girl stared directly at me. I told her I was going to take a look around upstairs, and her eyes wavered slightly. She definitely knew something. But asking her about it would have the opposite effect. I gave her a small wave and exited the basement. I needed some sewing goods to fix that teddy bear. There were only a few places I could search, so I should start with those. The Johnson sisters are so mean. They're laughing and making fun of me. Plus they changed the code to the seamstress's room. I can't get in and do my work. Asking them for the number is no use. They have no problem telling lies. But that girl, just that girl, she doesn't lie. I know it. We're close friends after all. The seamstress's room is the door with the wreath. I'll get it open. I'll get it open. No doubt I will. Then the footsteps padded away. I could no longer hear the voice. The seamstress's room, she said. I should be able to find sewing stuff in there. All right, let's move. She said it was the door with the wreath. I made my way to the door the voice mentioned, with the wreath on it. Sure enough, the door was locked and on the wall there was a panel to input a code. I sighed, unsure of what to do, when... The code is 456. Remember it. It's as I say. I always tell the truth. No, the code is 179. You mustn't tell lies. One of their codes is the true code. The code is 123. It's easy to remember, right? That's a lie. There's no way it would be numbers in a row. Isn't that a little careless? Then I heard giggling, and just like that, the voices stopped. Were they by any chance talking about the door code just now? All right, investigate. The door was locked and there was a panel on the wall to input a code. Right, so we have to choose which of those voices we believe. The code is 123, the easiest. I put in the code of the fifth voice, the honest person. Seemed that was the right choice. I heard the door unlock and then open. Okay, investigate. I soon found a needle and thread. Now all I needed was some cotton and a button. I found a teddy bear hidden down the side of the desk. Looked like it wasn't finished being made yet. It was a handmade bear that any mother might make for her child. Maybe the white girl's mother made hers too. Come to think of it, when my mother got sick, she spent all her time on the floor, sewing and making things. Yes, even teddy bears. My mother. I had no memories of her until now. Did I remember something just now? I desperately searched my head for more, but I couldn't remember anything about her appearance or what she was like. I gave a small sigh. After thinking about it for a moment, I took a little bit of cotton and a button from the teddy bear. I should return to the basement and fix the white girl's bear. I think. This was supposed to be the seamstress's room, but it didn't really look like one. Maybe I'd been expecting something more like a tailor's room. But more importantly, I had to take this stuff back down to the basement. Okay, let's move. We are going back to the basement. I went back down to the basement. The smell of mold assaulted me as soon as I opened the steel door. Plus, it seemed excessively cold. Wouldn't she get sick staying down here all this time? Was she okay? I was worried. As I called out, the white girl nervously stepped forward out of the darkness. After checking it was me, she stepped up to the bars. I showed her the sewing goods and told her I wanted to fix her bear, so she happily handed it to me. Well, would I be able to fix it without problem? I'd never sewn anything before. No, maybe I had done it sometime before. I had to do it without fear. The white girl hugged the fixed bear and jumped around happily. It took longer than I thought, but seeing her that happy made it worth it. Suddenly I felt a chill and sneezed. The girl tilted her head as though asking if I was okay. I smiled and told her I was fine, but she looked worried. Suddenly, as though she'd made her mind up, the girl took the scarf from around her neck and handed it to me. I wasn't surprised by her actions. I was surprised by the state of her neck. A red-black injury clearly stood out against her white skin. It looked swollen. At any rate, it was so bad that I couldn't look directly at it. Was that why she couldn't talk? I managed to hide how shaken I was, and I gently pushed her hand back. I told her that she had to be colder than me, sitting in here all this time. She got upset and shook her hand at me again. Had the friendly mood I'd worked towards been wasted again? I hesitated a little before taking the scarf and wrapping it around my neck. It didn't look like much, but it was actually rather warm. It was wide, and if I used it as a stole, it would do well to protect against the cold outside. I asked her if it was really okay, if she wasn't cold, but she just smiled, satisfied. Okay, think. Was it really okay to take her scarf? I wasn't sure, but I couldn't exactly give it back to her either. In contrast to how it looked, it was rather warm. It would protect against the coldness outside. Not to say that I could go outside anyway. Come to think of it, other than the front door, were there any other doors that led outside? Okay, let's talk. She seemed to be in a good mood after I fixed her bear. Maybe I could ask her something now. At any rate, I tried calmly to talk to her about something simple. I told her about the teddy bear I found in the seamstress's room, and about how I remembered my mother enjoyed sewing as well. I spoke slowly, carefully choosing my words. Ooh. She pointed to her bear and nodded several times. Maybe she was trying to tell me that her mother had made that bear for her as well. Despite how old it was, only its arm had fallen off. Her mother must have been really good at sewing. When I told her as much, she nodded proudly. Okay, think. With this scarf, I should be able to bear the coldness outside. But I wasn't sure that that alone would be enough if I were to look around. I should look for some other winter gear too. Right, talk. After a bit of chit-chat, I finally asked her something that had been bothering me. Of course, calmly, and choosing my words carefully. I asked her who she was and why she was in there. Her face clouded over and she gestured. She wasn't originally from this mansion. Something happened and she was brought here with nothing to her name. She explained that she was treated as less than human. Just as I thought, or rather, it was an answer that fit exactly what I could see before me. The story was so painful that I felt my head swim. When I asked her what happened, she shook her head. Maybe she didn't know the full details. What this young girl did know probably wasn't good. It didn't seem like the best time to keep asking her questions, so I stopped. Okay, let's move. We have a scarf now, so we are going to go to the courtyard. Investigate. After a quick look around, I noticed a small pile of snow in the middle of the garden. I tried to dig through the snow, but my hands quickly turned bright red. I soon lost feeling in my hands and I couldn't keep going. I should find some gloves or something. I think. So the scarf was enough for some of the cold. But if I wanted to look around more, it wasn't. There had to be more winter goods elsewhere. A closet. Come to think of it, I hadn't seen any other than in the room that I woke up in. I should check that room again. Alright, let's go. Move. This time we want to go to the room I woke up in. This one. And investigate. I was greatly disappointed when I opened the closet. When I first opened it, there was nothing but the employee uniform, but I had hoped to find at least some gloves or a hat or something. Maybe another room had some clothes, I thought as I searched the room. I glanced at the rubbish bin and noticed some gloves I'd seen somewhere before. Where had I? Oh yeah, they were the same color as the scarf I had on. They must have been made from the same wool. If so, did that mean these gloves also belong to the white girl? Or did we used to know each other, and I received these from her? But why were they in the trash? You naughty little thing, get this. And you, with the short hair, get this. And you, the hard worker, get this. It hurt. My head hurt. Why did it hurt so bad looking at this? Let's throw them out. If you're gonna restrict me with these, then... Unable to bear it any longer, I held my head and fell onto the bed. My mother fell ill and then died. Everyone bawled their eyes out. I quietly gave up, thinking that, this time had finally come. My mother was a weak and fragile woman. The fact she had raised the 5 of us siblings by herself was a miracle. All us siblings were taken into other households. I didn't think anyone was going to end up happy. I was confident of that. How funny. I laughed. I was the one who pulled the worst poverty card. Only me. The one who had a good future waiting ahead of them. Suddenly I woke up, like being pulled out of water. It was cold. Profuse sweat chilled my body. Felt like I'd had a strange dream, but I couldn't remember what it had been about. The reason my hands were shaking so badly had to be because of the cold, right? Suddenly, I saw the gloves sitting on the desk. I stood on wobbly legs and put the gloves on. The trembling didn't look like it would be stopping anytime soon. Maybe if I asked the white girl about these gloves and scarf, I might learn something. Alright, think. My head hurt. I couldn't remember the dream. I didn't want to remember it. The white girl had to know something about these gloves and scarf. I should go into the basement. Alright, but first, we're going to move. Now we have some gloves. Back to the courtyard. Alright, investigate. After a quick look around, I saw a pile of snow in the middle of the courtyard. I dug into the snow. Inside, I found a fancy-looking key that strangely stood out. Who put that in there? It was hard to think someone would hide such a fancy key. Maybe someone dropped it. At any rate, it had to open a door somewhere. I decided to take it with me. Alright, move. We have a key. At this point, there's really only one place it can go. The front door. Investigate. I didn't want to, but I couldn't help getting a little excited. If the key I found in the courtyard was for the front door, then I'd be able to escape this mansion right away. The key fit perfectly. The door unlocked with a clink. I'd be able to leave the mansion right now. Alright, we have a choice here. If you choose to leave, you are of course leaving the white girl downstairs, and it's a bad ending. So we're not going to do that. Everybody's getting out today. Not right now. No, I couldn't leave yet. Alright, so we need to go back to the girl in the basement. Move. Basement. My head still hurt. Holding it, I opened the door to the basement. Suddenly, something felt wrong. A strange sensation I didn't feel when I was in the room before. I walked forward slowly to the bars. Then, I realized why. The padlock hanging from the bars was open and lying on the floor. The door had been roughly opened. What on earth had happened while I was asleep? Was the white girl safe? Alright, investigate. I couldn't sense anyone in the basement. Was the white girl safe? I should go inside. I prepared myself and stepped through to the other side of the bars. It was bigger than I thought, roughly the same size as a single room. As I peered into the darkness, I called out to the white girl, but there was no response. I finally reached the wall on the other side, but I was certain that the girl was no longer in there. Why? Where did she go? Investigate. My eyes finally got used to the darkness. First of all, I should take a look around the cell. Almost immediately, I found a heavy-looking safe. It was locked tight and wouldn't open. I didn't think it was the white girl's. I didn't want to imagine that she was actually inside it either. It didn't look like I'd be able to do anything else with the safe. I should look around the cell a little more. Investigate. I continued looking around the cell. After looking around for a short while, I found a small wooden box on the floor. There was a screw in the rear. Looked like a music box. A music box. Why did I felt like I'd seen it somewhere before. But where? There was a piercing sound. It was as though my head was being tightened in some grip. It was going to break. Happy birthday. You're always like this, even though you already know everything. No, I just... That's enough. I'm sick of it. The pain in my head slowly faded. Was that a memory I saw just now? Suddenly I realized something. This music box was also the type that doubled as a treasure box. I lightly shook it, and it felt like something small was inside. Why? Why did I feel like I shouldn't open the box? It was like if I did, something terrifying would crawl out of it. Yes, just like Pandora's box. Alright. Let's unleash everything. Let's open it. The simple lid opened easily. The music box opened wide. Music started playing. I looked at the back of the lid. It was covered in scratches and dirty. I looked in the mirror. I saw myself reflected in the mirror. I looked at my own face. Without a voice, I screamed. My mother was a beautiful woman. It didn't take long before I, as the eldest of 5 children, understood how she got the money to care for all of us. How hilarious. All of her children were good looking too. But only I. Why? Every time I looked in the mirror, I cursed my mother, I cursed my siblings, and I cursed myself. Why? My face. Was it really that ugly? My youngest sister was the most beautiful of all. But she was a little slow in the head. She couldn't even help out around the house. She gave me a treasure box on my birthday. She knew. that I was collecting beautiful rocks from the path outside. That's why she gave it to me. That was all. But why? Why did she buy me something with a mirror attached? There was no reason for her to get me something with a mirror. Even she had to know that I was the ugliest child of the family and that she was the most beautiful. It was like everyone was looking at me, so it was strange to be concerned about it, looking at my face and looking at my face. My head pounded, and I was sweating profusely. At some point, the music box had fallen out of my hands, and I was sitting on my backside. All right, let's think. Where did that white girl go? And what on earth was that memory just now? The pain in my head was too much. Okay, let's move. Okay, let's go back to the room with the golden doorknob. There it is. I suddenly heard a noise and stopped. The door with the gold doorknob was slightly ajar. I could hear something coming from inside. My head still hurt. I cradled it. Through the door, what I could see through the gap seemed to be a different world. That was what I wanted to think. It wasn't like I was curious. I was merely drawn in by a voice I had heard somewhere before. Black hair flowed over the white sheets. A sheen of sweat-coated white skin. The bed shook roughly. Tears caught in her eyes. She panted and gasped. It was just like a scream. I knew how my mother earned money. I knew. Everyone was pretty, so I would never be happy. What exactly was it that I hated? There was a choking smell. I wanted to throw up. I vomited and curled up on the floor. For such a young and pretty girl to be bought by a rich man. Locked in the basement and devoured by the master like a beast. Her freedom and innocence stolen. All she had left was the teddy bear her mother gave her and the music box that had been refused. Looking in the mirror at that beautiful, too beautiful body, what must she have thought? Was she thankful towards it as a personal life net, or did she hate it? Like me. Investigate. There was nothing in the room. Only the smell of the man and woman remained. On top of the messy bed, there was a small key. Judging by the size of it, it wasn't a door key. If not, then what was it for? Think. I don't want to think about anything right now. Okay, well, we have a small key, which means, let's move back to the basement. Investigate. The safe I found before. Maybe, just maybe, this small key would open the safe. I wondered, what was inside it? I didn't think it would be a load of money or treasures. I had a bad feeling about it, but I swallowed my screams and opened the door. I let out the giant breath I'd been holding. Inside was just a shovel. A steel shovel for shoveling snow. But why was it in a safe? What on earth was the person who put it in there thinking? I took the shovel, and the very next moment, gulped. Looking closer, the metal part was covered in something red. It dripped from the edge onto the floor. It was fresh. What was it? For what and by whom was it used? What had happened to the white girl? Something had been carved into the back of the safe. Smart leaves hide in the forest. Where is the white girl hiding? If you call her name, the long game of hide and seek will end. But make sure you're ready. After hide and seek comes tag. Be careful of dead ends. Overwhelmed by an inexplicable anxiety, I gripped the shovel and left the basement. All right, let's move back into the courtyard. We need to find the girl. I dug through the snow with the shovel, searching for the white girl. Searching. What are you going to do? A dark feeling from the bottom of my heart questioned me. Would I apologize to the girl? Would she apologize to me? Neither felt necessary. Alright, investigate. How long had I been doing this for? As I tossed the endless snow around, I continued looking for her. The girl appeared in the pure white world as though on a screen. Our clumsy conversations held through gestures. Her smile as I fixed her teddy bear. Her serious eyes as she looked at me. As I thought of her, my breath floated up into the sky, as though cleansing the dark feelings inside of me. That was what I thought. It wasn't just my face that was ugly. How nice it would have been to live only in possession of beautiful things. Investigate. White. Everything was white. If I could end it all with a clean heart wrapped in this snow. As the thought crossed my mind, it felt like a soft voice called out my name. The moment it did, my consciousness cleared. I dug desperately in the direction of the snow. Then, finally, I found a small body lying in the snow like a doll. She was pure white. There was no injury around her throat. She was back to normal. A piece of art returned to perfection. A nostalgic voice spoke to me. If I melted into the snow, just like this, I wouldn't cause you pain again. Therefore, please, forget about me. Run. I grabbed her hand, cold as ice. There was something I had to tell her. Call her. Alright, so here we need to call the girl by her name. You can't see, but there's another input here. Snow. I called out her name. Snow. I said it over and over, as though tasting the word. I pulled her hand and hugged her cold body. Why hadn't I done this sooner? I was always too slow with everything. snow. My younger sister buried her face against my chest and cried. It's okay now. I'm fine. Run. Forget about me. Don't get caught. Just like me. I shook my head. This was the reason I came back. I came to this mansion to free Snow. Let's go together. Let's escape. Let's go home. Crunch. Something stood on the snow. Devil. I would take her from this mansion. I would save her, this girl. Devil. That was the only thing I could do for her now. My final redemption. Devil, devil, devil. He was just like a beast. How much of him was human? A man who had lost the light, lost salvation. Devil, 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 devil. Neither rank nor money could appease him. Now he had been reduced to a pathetic Santa. Wrapped in red clothes, a blood-covered man. I will never forgive a devil. Run! Snow screamed. The man reached for her white neck. At the same time, I gripped the shovel. I brought it down as hard as I could. The red man screamed inhumanely. The moment I let go, I grabbed Snow's hand and ran. Devil! The man's screams and footsteps quickly followed us. Snow and I ran as fast as we could down the hall. You ugly, ugly devil! Are you going to steal my precious light once again? Why are you taking her away from me after I had just broken her body and made her soul mine? You devil, devil, devil! Snow! The front door. I reached out for it as the man continued to roar behind us. It was so long. It really was. Sorry I took so long. I'm sorry. Captain! It's here! It's here! Just like they said. Here in the courtyard. The girl's corpse. I see. So it had nothing to do with the other incidents? Yeah. There's another? Damn it. It's the suspect. Okay. I'll leave the rest to you. Looks like we found your younger sister's body. Thank you for your help. In the courtyard. Yes. She was buried in the courtyard, just as you said. And the weapon was in the basement safe, just as you said. It's not like I believe everything you told us, though. Like, I think it would be wonderful if she had been saved, though. Saved? Both you and your sister, I mean. You finally got out of that mansion. It's snowing. Looks like the snow's gonna pile up again. Looks like it'll be a white Christmas. Merry Christmas.